The stars shone like tiny diamonds across the black sky. Space was quiet, but it never really slept. Ships passed through silent corridors of stars, carrying people, goods, and secrets. Among them was an old Earth ship, worn but strong, drifting. Slowly near the edge of known space, inside that ship, Captain Elias sat in the command chair. He was not young anymore, but his eyes were sharp. He had flown through war zones, asteroid fields, and strange alien systems. Now, his ship was on a mission that no one understood, not even him. The mission was simple on paper: explore an unmarked signal near the edge of the galaxy. Earth Command didn't send a ship like the Sparrowhawk unless something felt important. Elias looked around at his small crew. There was Kara, the quiet engineer who could fix anything with wire and tape. Next to her sat Jonah, the pilot who never stopped talking unless he was asleep. And then there was Dr. Reyna, the scientist with a kind heart and a brain that never stopped working. Anything on scanners? Elias asked. Kara shook her head. Nothing yet, just background noise. Jonah leaned back and stretched. I bet it's just another broken probe. We're flying 3 days for a beep-beep. But Dr. Reyna frowned. No, that signal was strange. It had a rhythm, like language. Alien, Kara asked. Maybe, Reyna said quietly. Not one we know. Elias rubbed his chin. We'll know soon enough. Keep your eyes open. The ship moved forward, following the faint signal. It grew louder with every hour, still not clear, but definitely not random. It repeated every few minutes, soft pulsing tone like someone tapping on the walls of the universe. Then, after a day of silence, something changed. Captain, Kara said, sitting up straight. We have visual. Elias leaned forward. It on screen, the display flickered. A shape appeared. It wasn't a planet or a ship, it was something different. A giant ring floating in space, glowing faintly blue. It turned slowly, like it was sleeping. What is that? Jonah asked. Dr. Reyna's mouth dropped open. It's a gate, an ancient one. Kara looked confused. A gate to where? No idea, Reyna said. But this isn't human, ain't you? It's not in our records. The ship approached the gate slowly. The signal was coming from inside it now, loud and clear. Should we turn back? Kara asked. Elias didn't speak right away. He looked at the gate, then at his crew. No, he said. We go in. That's what we're here for. Jonah smiled nervously. Well, I always wanted to be the first to find something new. The ship moved into the ring. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the gate flashed hand, the stars changed. Outside the window, the galaxy was gone. In its place was a calm sky full of strange colors and distant shapes that moved slowly, like giant fish underwater. There were no stars here, just light. And shadows. Where are we? Kara whispered. Reyna checked her instruments. This isn't a different place. It's a different layer. A hidden part of space. Elias stood up. Scan everything. We're not leaving until we know what this is. A voice echoed through the ship, not through speakers, but inside their minds. You have arrived at the threshold. The crew froze. Did you hear that? Jonah asked. Yes, Elias said. I think everyone did. Kara looked pale. Captain, what is this place? Before he could answer, the gate behind them vanished. They were trapped. But Elias didn't panic. He stared at the strange light outside, and a small smile formed on his lips. This, he said, is the start of something bigger than all of us. Though none of them knew what lay ahead, one thing was clear. Humanity had just stepped into a new part of the universe, and it was watching back. Asterisk, the strange space around the ship felt quiet, too quiet. There were no stars, no planets, and no sound. Only slow-moving lights and shifting shapes floated in the distance. Like dreams moving through fog, inside the ship, the crew sat in silence. The voice they heard earlier still echoed in their minds. You have arrived at the threshold. Kara was the first to speak. Talk to us, not through any speaker. It just appeared in my mind. Dr. Reyna nodded. Same here. It was clear, not like a dream. Something intelligent is here. Elias looked at the controls. The gate is gone. We're not getting out the same way we came. Out. The navigation screen? I've got nothing. No waypoints. No known coordinates. We're off the map. The ship floated forward slowly, its engines quiet. Reyna turned on the external sensors, trying to make sense of the strange environment. It's like, this place isn't made of normal space, she said. I'm reading low gravity, high energy fields, and something else. Something organic. Organic. Elias repeated. Reyna nodded. Guess. Some parts of this space seem alive, or at least reacting to us. Kara turned to look at the front window. One of the lights was moving closer. It was small at first, like a glowing orb, but it got brighter and clearer as it came near. Captain, she said quietly. Something's approaching. The orb stopped a short distance from the ship. It floated there, pulsing softly with blue and white light. It didn't look dangerous. It looked curious. It's watching us, Jonah whispered. Then again a voice entered their minds. Travelers, not of this space. You are far from your path. Elias stood up. We're explorers. We followed a signal. The orb pulsed once. Few hear the call. Fewer still answer. You have stepped into the inner veil. The inner veil, Reyna repeated. Is that what this place is called? What? The orb moved in a slow circle around the ship, then paused. Double quotes. Yes, it is where ancient truths rest. Only those with purpose may remain. Elias looked serious. What if we stay? You must prove your purpose, or the veil will close. The orb floated away, disappearing into the mist. Jonah rubbed his head. Well, that was something. What does it mean by prove our purpose? I think it's a test, Reyna said. This whole place feels like a gate to something else, something powerful. Kara checked the ship's systems. We're not using much fuel. The ship's systems are running smoothly. It's like this place is helping us stay alive. But why? Jonah asked. Elias looked out the window. Maybe it wants to know who we are, why we came. Reyna nodded. Or maybe it wants to see if we're ready. Just then, a new signal flashed on the screen. It wasn't from outside, it was from inside the ship. A door that had been locked for years, one used for cargo storage, suddenly opened by itself. That's strange, Kara said. No one touched that door. Elias walked toward it slowly. Let's take a look. The crew followed him. Inside the storage room, something had changed. The walls glowed faintly. The center of the room was a round device like a smooth black stone hovering above the floor. I've never seen that before, Jonah said. Was that always here? Reyna stepped closer. It's warm, and it's humming like it's active. As they watched, the device lit up with a pattern of symbols. Human writing, but something ancient and beautiful. The lights moved. Like a wave, Reyna whispered. I think it's showing us something. The lights shifted and formed images, stars being born, galaxies spinning, and then Earth. The blue planet spun slowly in space, and then the image zoomed out. It showed Earth connected to a line of light, reaching deep into the inner veil. It knows where we came from, Kara said. It's mapping a path, Reyna added. Not just to Earth, but to something beyond. Elias stared at the images. It's not just a test. It's a message. This place has been watching humanity. It wants us to understand something. The light stopped. The device dimmed, and slowly floated back down to the floor. What now? Jonah asked. Reyna turned to Elias. Now we follow the path. Whatever this place is, it sees something in us. It wants to show us more. Elias nodded slowly. Then we'll keep going, step by step, as the crew returned to the command deck. They felt a quiet excitement. We're not just lost explorers anymore. They're a part of something greater. Something ancient was calling humanity forward, and they had just answered. The ship floated gently through the quiet space of the inner veil. The stars were still missing, replaced by colorful waves of light and shapes that moved slowly in the distance. The crew sat in silence, watching the strange world around them. They felt small, but also curious. Something greater than themselves had welcomed them. Captain Elias stood by the main screen, his hands behind his back. He had seen many things in his life storms, aliens, forgotten planets, but nothing like this. "We're being shown something," he said. "Not just a path, but a purpose." Kara, the engineer, tapped the screen. "The ship is still fine. System stable, power levels strong. It's like this place doesn't want us to leave, but it's also helping us stay." Dr. Reyna sat beside her, studying the strange symbols that had appeared earlier. "This device we found," she said, pointing to the black stone they had moved to the science bay. "It's not just technology. I think it's a guide, Jonah." The pilot leaned back in his chair. "A guide to where?" Reyna looked up. To understanding, something humanity has never seen before. Suddenly, the ship's lights blinked twice, then turned to soft blue. A new message appeared on the screen. It wasn't written in any human language, but the crew somehow understood it. The message said, "One trial awaits. Follow the chosen course." A small circle appeared on the navigation panel, showing a path of light that curved through the strange space. At the end of the path was a glowing shape. It looked like a floating island covered in soft light. "That must be where we're supposed to go," said Jonah. Elias nodded. "Let's move carefully. This may be a test." The Sparrowhawk glided through the light trail. The closer they got to the floating island, the clearer it became. It wasn't made of rock or metal. It looked like crystal. Trees with glowing leaves moved slowly in a wind that didn't exist. Pools of golden water reflected shapes from the sky. "It's beautiful, Kara," whispered Reyna, looked amazed. "I've never seen anything like it. It's not natural, but it's not fully artificial either." As they landed on a small platform at the edge of the crystal island, the ship's systems remained stable. The door opened slowly. Soft breeze touched their faces, even though they were in deep space. Elias looked at his crew. "We go together. No one stays behind." The four of them stepped outside. The ground beneath their feet felt soft, like smooth glass, but warm. Lights moved around them, almost like they were alive. A path formed ahead, glowing gently. Jonah looked around. "It's like the island is waiting for us." They followed the path until they reached a tall crystal arch. It hummed softly and shimmered with light. Then another voice filled there. "Mine's not loud, not scary. Calm, deep. Show what makes your kind worthy." Elias looked at Reyna. "What do you think it means?" She thought for a moment. "I don't think it wants knowledge or strength. I think it wants us to show who we are." Before they could respond, a scene formed in front of them, like a dream coming to life. It showed Earth people helping each other during storms, building homes, curing diseases, exploring space. Then it showed war, destruction, and sadness. But the image did not stop there. It moved forward. It showed people learning, forgiving, and growing again. Kara gasped. "It's showing our story," Reyna nodded. "The good and the bad. But most of all, the hope." Then the voice returned. "You fall, but you rise. You break, but you build. You search not to conquer, but to understand." The lights around. The crew began to rise and spin slowly. The island seemed to breathe, as if alive. "You may continue." The crystal arch opened like a door, revealing a stairway of light leading deeper into the floating island. Elias looked at his crew. "This is just the beginning." Jonah gave a small smile. "I was expecting aliens with laser eyes, but I think this is even stranger." Reyna laughed softly. "Stranger, yes, but also wonderful." They walked up the glowing steps, feeling a new energy inside them. They weren't just travelers anymore. They were representatives of Earth. The galaxy had called on. Humanity had answered with open hearts. Above them, the strange sky shimmered brighter. The inner veil was opening wider, revealing more secrets. But whatever came next, the crew was ready, because they were human, and they had purpose. Asterisk the glowing stairs led the crew. Higher into the heart of the crystal island, each step felt light beneath their feet, almost like walking on soft air. The lights around them changed color with every move, blue, green. Golden-like, the island was alive and watching. Captain Elias walked in front. He kept his eyes forward, but his thoughts were busy. His journey was unlike anything he had ever experienced. It was no longer about finding a signalet. It was about something greater. Behind him, Kara looked around in awe. Everything feels peaceful here. Jonah nodded. It's like this place is made of memories and light. Dr. Reyna was focused on a glowing panel that floated beside the stairs. These lights are reacting to our presence, she said. They're scanning us, maybe even learning from us. At the top of the stairs, the crew reached a wide platform. In the center stood a tall figure made of light. It had no face, no mouth, but it felt calm. The light around it shimmered like water. The crew stopped. The figure raised one hand. You have passed the first gate, it said in their minds. Now begins the second test, understanding. Elias stepped forward. We want to understand. That's why we came. The figure slowly turned. A wall of glowing energy appeared behind it. On that wall, shapes and symbols danced in the air maps of stars, galaxies, and something else. Timelines. Dr. Reyna stepped closer. These are stories, not written words, but living memories. The figure nodded. This is the memory of our kind. We were once like you, curious, bold, searching for truth beyond the stars. The wall changed. It now showed images of beings made of light, building great cities, floating through space, exploring with wonder. But we lost our way, the voice continued. We grew too proud. We stopped learning and started controlling. When in time, we disappeared. Kara whispered. They're not here anymore. Only echoes remain, the figure said. But we left the inner veil as a lesson, a place where others could come, learn, and remember. Elias looked at the glowing wall. You want us to learn from your mistakes? Yes, the figure replied. Your kind still has a chance. But you must choose your path. Suddenly, the platform shifted. 3 paths opened before them, each one glowing in a different color. One path glowed red, lined with sharp light. One glowed blue, soft and calm. One glowed gold, bright and shining. Jonah looked uneasy. I guess we have to pick. Reyna studied each path. I think they represent choices. The red path might be power. The blue could be wisdom, and the gold may be unity or hope. Elias thought for a moment. Then he turned to his crew. We didn't come here for power or to take anything. We came to learn, to understand, and maybe grow. He pointed toward the golden path. That's our way. The figure of light raised both hands. The gold path lit up brighter, welcoming them. Forward. A wise choice, the voice said. You may proceed. As they walked down the golden path, the scenery changed. The crystal turned to smooth white stone, and gentle music played from nowhere. Small plants with glowing petals grew along the sides. At the end of the path, they entered a round chamber. The center was a sphere of light, floating quietly. Reyna stepped forward. This is it. It's the heart of the island. The sphere pulsed with light. A new image appeared inside it. It showed oceans, cities, mountains, and people. Then the image zoomed out, showing Earth as part of something larger. A bright thread of energy connected Earth to dozens of points in space hidden places. Maybe even other veils, Kara gasped. We're not alone, Reyna nodded. Are others out there? Maybe like us. Maybe different. The sphere began to spin slowly. The thread of light from Earth grew stronger, stretching toward a bright star. Jonah asked, What's that place? Elias answered softly, Our next step. And the voice returned one last time. You have chosen the path of unity. To carry this knowledge with care, you are now part of something bigger than your world. The chamber slowly dimmed, and the sphere of light gently floated toward the crew. It stopped in front of Elias and rested in his hands. It was warm. Elias looked at his crew. Let's take this home. They returned to the ship with quiet hearts and clear minds. The inner veil had shown them truth, but it was only the beginning. More gates would open, more paths would appear. An Earth so small in the galaxy was now part of something ancient and powerful. Humanity was not just exploring space anymore. Humanity was being invited into something greater. The sparrowhawk floated quietly as it left the crystal island behind. The golden path faded, but the memory of it remained strong in everyone's mind. In Captain Elias's hands, the sphere of light pulsed gently, like a calm heartbeat. The crew had returned to the ship without trouble. The systems were working perfectly, and the air felt warmer. It's almost like the ship itself was happy they had returned. Reyna placed a scanner near the glowing sphere. "It's stable," she said. "Not dangerous. But it's holding something. I think... knowledge." Elias looked at it carefully. "It's not just a souvenir. This is a message, maybe even a tool." Kara turned from the engine console. "Do we know where to go next?" Jonah checked the navigation panel. "Funny thing, a new star just appeared on the map. It wasn't there before. It's very far away, but a clear path connects us to it. Looks like the veil wants us to continue," Elias said. "Set a course." The ship moved forward again, following the line of light through the strange space. Outside, the sky was still full of colors and flowing shapes, but now everything seemed clearer, less unknown, as if the veil was slowly revealing itself. As the crew settled into their tasks, something new happened. The lights on the ship dimmed slightly, and a soft voice echoed once again, not loud, not frightening. "You have chosen to carry the flame. Before you go further, you must look inward." The ship slowed to a stop on its own. A soft blue mist filled the main deck. The crew looked around, unsure of what was happening. Then, each person saw something different. Kara found herself standing in front of a younger version of herself. She was on Earth, inside a small workshop. She watched her younger self building machines from scrap. Smiling with joy, a voice whispered in her mind, "You are more than wires and tools. You build futures." Jonah stood on a space station, looking out a window at Earth below. He remembered a time when he dreamed of flying, when stars were stories and not maps. You are more than speed. You guide others through the unknown. Reyna was in a science lab holding a test tube. Her hands were shaking, and she remembered the moment when her first experiment failed. But she also remembered how she kept trying. You are more than facts. You carry hope inside knowledge. And Elias stood on a quiet hill years ago after his first mission. He remembered feeling small and unsure, wondering if humanity belonged in space at all. You are more than orders. You are the voice of a people who still dream. One by one, the crew returned to the main deck, the mist fading slowly. They didn't speak at first. Their eyes said enough. Something personal. Elias looked around. That was no test. That was a reminder. Reyna nodded. A reminder of who we are. Jonah smiled. Maybe why we were chosen? Kara touched the side of the glowing sphere. It wasn't just knowledge. It was trust. Just then, the ship's screen lit up. A star was growing larger in the distance, the one Jonah had seen on the map earlier. It wasn't like a normal star. It was brighter, with golden rings spinning. Around it, something large floated nearby. As the ship got closer, they saw it was not a planet. It was a giant structure, a space station, old and beautiful, shaped like a spiral of light. "Wow," Jonah said. "That's not made by humans." Reyna scanned the station. No life signs, no movement, but it's still active. Elias leaned forward. "Bring us in slowly. Let's not scare it." The sparrowhawk approached the station. The closer they came, the more the sphere in Elias's hand began to glow. When they reached the edge of the station, a door opened on its own. "I think it's inviting us in," Kara said. Elias nodded. "Suit up. We're going in." The crew put on light suits and walked through the door. Inside, the station was filled with soft light and peaceful silence. The walls were covered in patterns that moved like rivers. Every surface looked old, but well cared for. In the center of the room, there was a round table. On it sat another sphere, this one made of crystal, not light. Reyna stepped forward. Another message? Elias placed their own glowing sphere next to the crystal one. As soon as he did, Both spheres lit up and floated into the air. A beam of light connected them, and shapes formed between them. A map, not just a star map. Map of connections, paths between worlds, hidden places, and more stations like this one. This is a network, Elias said quietly. They built a web of knowledge, and now we're being shown the way. The voice returned one final time for the day. You carry the fire, share it, protect it, and let it grow. As the light faded, the spheres gently lowered themselves back to the table. The crew stood in silence, surrounded by beauty and wonder. They were no longer just explorers. They were now part of a long-forgotten journey, ready to be awakened again. Asterisk, the sparrowhawk floated near the ancient spiral station. Outside the window, the golden ring spun slowly around the bright star, sending soft light across the ship's hull. Inside, the crew sat together around the main table, staring at the glowing map that had appeared between the two spheres. Captain, Elias studied the lines and points carefully. This isn't just a map of places, it's a map of ideas, trail made for us to follow. Dr. Reyna zoomed in on one glowing point. This place here, it's marked differently. The lines are thicker, brighter. It could be the center of the network. Kara pointed at another part of the map, the symbol. I've seen it before. It was on the wall of the Crystal Island. Jonah rubbed his chin. So, we've only just begun. This whole veil might be a road to something much bigger. Elias leaned back. Then it's time we follow it. Let's set course for the next marker. As the ship turned away from the spiral station, the new path lit up on its own. The stars shifted again. The crew watched in silence as the galaxy seemed to rearrange itself. Lights moved into new shapes. A tunnel of soft blue formed. Ahead, inviting them forward, Reyna watched her screen. This space, it's bending, not like normal space. Shaped by thought or memory, maybe both. Jonah steered carefully. Feels like we're moving through a dream.
Nice.
The ship passed through the tunnel, and after a few minutes, it entered a wide open space. At the center floated a giant sphere, almost the size of a small moon. But it wasn't made of rock or metal lit. Looked like liquid glass, clear and smooth, glowing softly from within. It's beautiful, Kara whispered. As they came closer, the glass sphere shifted. Inside, shapes moved slowly, images maybe, even memories. Suddenly the voice returned, gentle and calm. Here lies the Hall of Echoes. The past of many rests within. Listen and learn. The ship stopped near the edge of the sphere. A small door opened on the side of the liquid surface. It looked like a ripple in water. I guess we're going in, Leah said with a steady voice. They suited up again and entered the sphere. As they passed through the door, they felt no pressure, no cold, just a soft warmth, like a welcome home. Inside, the space opened up into a wide chamber. The walls shimmered like water. Around them floated small spheres of light each, one holding a memory. One of the spheres floated closer to Elias. When he touched it, an image filled the air. A tall alien stood on a mountain, watching a young child build something from stone. The alien smiled, not with pride, but with hope. Around them, other beings worked together, not for control, but for creation. It's a memory, Reyna said softly. A peaceful one. They moved to another sphere. This one showed a group of beings sitting around a fire, sharing food and stories. Different shapes, different colors, but the same kindness. Then another. This one showed disaster buildings. Falling, people running, but others were helping, lifting, caring. They're showing us who they were, Kara said. Not perfect, but full of heart. Jonah floated quietly to the side. He had found a memory that showed a group of young explorers, curious, laughing, brave. One of them looked a bit like him. We're not so different, he said. Then the voice came again. All who passed through the veil left their memories here. Their joys, their mistakes, their hopes. Now they belong to you. A final sphere floated to the center of the room. It's larger, glowing gold. Elias reached out and touched it. This memory was different. It showed Earth, not as it was now, but far in the future. Cities in the sky, oceans clean and shining, humans standing side by side with other beings, some tall, some glowing, some completely unlike anything seen before. And they were working together. Reina's voice trembled. This is a possible future. The voice confirmed it. It is one of many futures, built not by force, but by choice. By unity, not fear. Elias took a deep breath. They're telling us we can shape what comes next. The golden memory slowly faded. The chamber grew quiet again. Kara whispered, "What do we do now?" Voice answered one final time, "Take what you've seen. Carry it home. You are no longer just travelers. You are keepers of memory. Share it. Protect it. And others will follow." As the crew exited the Hall of Echoes, the glass sphere behind them slowly closed, sealing the memories inside once again. Back on the ship, the glowing map updated itself. New path appeared, this one brighter than any before. Elias looked at it with calm eyes. This is the way forward. And so, the Sparrowhawk moved once more through the quiet stars, no longer lost, but guided by purpose. Humanity had listened. Now, it was time to return with a message not of power, but of promise. The Sparrowhawk flew gently through the glowing tunnel of light, leaving the Hall of Echoes behind. The stars had returned, but they now looked brighter as if they knew something had changed. Inside the ship, the crew sat quietly, each person. Deep in thought, Captain Elias stood near the main window, watching the golden path ahead. "We're heading home," he said softly. Reina nodded. "But we're not the same people who left Earth." Kara leaned back in her chair. "We saw their memories, their hopes, their warnings, and they trusted us to carry it forward." Jonah looked at the glowing map. "There's still more to learn, more paths to follow. But I think this part of the journey is done." The ship moved faster now, as if the veil itself was guiding them back. A soft pulse of light followed the ship, lighting the way like stars blinking in rhythm. The map showed a final marker Earth. The crew gathered in the command room as the planet came into view. It was blue and green, just as they remembered, spinning quietly in space. But it felt different now, more precious, more fragile. "We're almost there," Elias said. But just before they reached orbit, a signal appeared on their screen. It wasn't from Earth. It was from the Veil. The same calm voice returned. "One final task. Share what you have seen. Not in words, but in understanding." Suddenly, the glowing sphere from the Crystal Island began to float. It pulsed brightly, and then gently released hundreds of small lights. Each one floated through the ship, then out through the windows into space, heading toward Earth. Reina watched in awe. They're sending the memories. To everyone, Kara stepped closer to the window. They'll see what we saw, not as a message, but as a feeling. The lights entered Earth's atmosphere without harm. They scattered across the world, touching people, cities, forests, even empty deserts. Everywhere, someone paused, looked up, felt something new. A child in a crowded street suddenly dreamed of stars. A teacher saw an image of people working together in peace. A scientist felt a strong sense of purpose and hope. Across the planet, the memories from the Veil were shared, softly, quietly, but deeply. Jonah smiled. They'll never forget this, even if they don't understand it right away. Elias turned to his crew. This was never just about exploration. It was about connection. About reminding us of who we are and who we can become. The Sparrowhawk gently entered Earth's orbit. The space agency contacted them immediately, asking questions, curious and confused. But Elias simply said, "We'll explain everything." In time, as the ship landed on Earth, people gathered to meet them. Some were officials, some were scientists. But many were just curious citizens who had seen something, felt something in their hearts. The glowing map from the ship was displayed in front of Earth's leaders. It showed not just paths to other stars, but the promise of shared knowledge and peaceful journeys. Reina gave a quiet speech at a World Science Conference. She didn't talk about power or advanced machines. She spoke of memory, of unity, and of the quiet voice that had guided them through the stars. Kara shared the designs of peaceful technologies they had seen. It's not to conquer, but to improve life on Earth. Clean energy, safe transport, better ways to learn and connect. Jonah worked with pilots and engineers, helping them understand how space could be explored with care and respect, and Elias traveled from place to place, speaking with children, students, and everyday people, not as a hero, but as a reminder that the future belonged to all of them. The message from the veil was not shouted, didn't come with noise or commands. It came as inspiration, soft and deep. Weeks passed, and Earth began to change, not all at once, but slowly. People started working together more. They asked better questions. They looked up at the stars not with fear, but with wonder. One evening, the crew met again on a hill outside the city. The sky above them was clear. The stars shone brightly. The faint line of the veil's golden path could still be seen by those who believed. "We brought back more than knowledge," Reyna said. "We brought back hope," Elias added. Jonah chuckled. "Next, and a pretty cool map." Kara smiled. "What do we do now?" Elias looked up at the sky. "We rest, we share, and then we go again." The others nodded. They knew the journey wasn't over. The galaxy was vast, and the veil had many more secrets to reveal. But for now, they had done something no one else had ever done. They had listened, they had learned, and they had brought the stars home. Asterisk. Months had passed since the Sparrowhawk returned to Earth. The memories from the inner veil had spread quietly but deeply. People everywhere felt a new connection, not just to the stars, but to each other. Captain Elias stood in a park, watching children play under the bright sun. Their laughter echoed through the air, full of joy and hope. He smiled, knowing that the future was alive in those small moments. Beside him, Kara adjusted a small device. She had helped create one, inspired by the peaceful technologies from the Crystal Island. It collected sunlight and turned it into clean energy for the whole neighborhood. Reyna was nearby, teaching a group of young students about the stars and the stories hidden within them. Her voice was calm but full of excitement. Jonah watched from a distance, preparing a new spacecraft designed for careful exploration. Not for conquest, but for learning. "Everything is changing," Kara said softly. "It's not because we forced it, but because people chose to believe." Elias nodded. "The veil showed us that change comes from inside, from hope and understanding." Night, the four gathered on a hill overlooking the city. The stars above twinkled softly, and the faint golden glow of the veil still shimmered faintly in the sky for those who watched carefully. "We started something new," Elias said. "But the journey never really ends," Reyna smiled. "There are more secrets out there, more paths to discover," Jonah added, "and more people to inspire." Kara looked at the stars. "We showed them what it means to be human," Elias took a deep breath. "Humanity is more than just a species. We are dreamers, builders, and friends. We face the unknown with courage and kindness." As they sat quietly, a soft light appeared above them, a gentle shimmer in the night sky. It was a sign, a promise. The universe was vast, but it was not cold. It was waiting, waiting for those who dared to listen, waiting for those who chose hope, waiting for those who believe in the power of unity. The crew smiled at each other. They knew the next adventure was already beginning, not just for them, but for all of humanity, because now Earth was not alone. It was part of a great and shining story, a story that stretched across stars and time, a story where humanity would always say, quietly but firmly, "We are here, we are ready, and we will rise."